All right, Nick. Wind's howling at Wrigley, and you wanted chaos on the final day of the regular season in Major League Baseball, and boy, do we have chaos. Braves, they are trailing 4-2 to the Royals. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks are winning 11-2, and currently, as we speak, the Mets are 1 out away from winning, as they are up 5-0 in the bottom of the ninth. So,
collusion, something I did not factor into this whole thing.
Padres don't want to win the game.
Neither do the Brewers, because the Brewers will play maybe the Diamondbacks, but they might also they might play one of the teams that have to play tomorrow.
Wrong way. Yeah, maybe.
So there's some collusion going on.
So, can you walk me through what this means?
All right. So, if all the scores hold, we play a doubleheader tomorrow.
They're going to hold. I mean, outside the Braves have a chance.
Yeah, and the Royals have to play on Tuesday. So, are they throwing their closer or in the ninth? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the Royals are like the one team that on the last day of the year is not pulling this. Oh, did I die? Uh-oh.
Well,
you still
I
hear
hear
me?
you sound great. Now, as far as your screenshot grab goes, not the best. But hey.
All right, we're back.
There you go. Yeah, go ahead.
So if these scores hold, they play a doubleheader tomorrow. The Diamondbacks, the only way they get in is they need a sweep. Someone has to sweep. If the two teams split, they're both in. So, but I don't know. We need to know who won the season series between the Mets and the braves, because that could make game 2 meaningful or not, because they could be playing for a home game or not.
Yeah, Ty France grounds out 2 outs, by the way, and Jake Fraley hits a little looper in a center field that drops for a base hit, and currently the Reds have 1 man on with 2 outs in the top of the ninth.
For Jake.
So hit him where they ain't, Jake Fraley. Not the best swing, but it counts.
Here we go. Atlanta versus New York, 5-6. So, I don't know, man. This math is getting hard. Well, no, if a team sweeps, then they would win the season series. So the Mets are 5-6. So if the Braves win game 1 tomorrow, the Braves are locked into, or no, Trace, they're not playing for home field advantage because the Padres already clinched them. Yeah, so game 2 is me. It's wild.
Neither team tomorrow are playing for home field advantage. They both are in a situation where they just need to win 1 game, right?
Yeah, it's almost like that. Was it the Raiders?
Yeah, the Raiders and the Chargers.
It's like that exact same.
But it really won't. That's just not going to work that way. Now, what will happen? Actually, it will happen that way, but not a guarantee. It's just that whoever wins the first game is going to 100% throw off. They're just going to throw the bottom of the barrel guy that they have, and you're just going to have to beat them with that guy. Simple as that. Like if you're the Diamondbacks, you're not in the best spot.
Jeez, man, Marte's had a pretty tough series.
Yep.
Oh,
Marte grounds out to short. That will end the top of the ninth. 0 runs, 6 hits, 0 errors, 0 runs, 3 hits, 0 errors for the Cubs. We head to the bottom of the ninth. We'll see what Santillan can do here to close out the 2024 Reds season. It seems like there's going to be some kind of poetic ending to this one, but we shall wait and see.
Is Diaz coming in?
No, it's Santillan.
It is Santillan? I didn't see that. Chase, on Wednesday night when you were watching the old Reds game and the Reds loaded the bases against Emmanuel Clase, did you think that was going to be the last time the Reds were going to threaten to score all year?
No, I actually thought to myself that this guy hasn't given up 3 runs all year long, and he's about to blow a save to the Reds, who really quite literally could care less of being there. So here we are.
Oh man, what a world! So that's gonna be fascinating, though. Tomorrow, like
Tomorrow's gonna be a fun little
MLB's, it's
experiment.
Well, game 1, I'm not really all that interested in because I don't really one of them's in, one of them. I'm fascinated.
It's a do or die game to get in. So it's going to be. I'll tell you what. Game 1 is going to be like a playoff baseball game, and game 2 is going to be quite literally the opposite.
But could you have some sort of gentleman shake before this game and say, "Hey, look, when either one of us want to burn all our pitchers, like let's just."
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
They're going to be too scared. The other one's going to pull a fast one.
Exactly. Yeah. No. No. What's
going to happen? MLB will kill them if they don't sell it.
First
if
of
they
all,
don't sell it.
If they got wind that they were doing some gentleman handshakes, there would be some consequences. So that's not going to happen. It's just more or less what happens in that second game. Like, how bad does it get? I mean, I'm thinking about the Reds roster. If they were in a playoff push, what would they do? They would probably bring up like Legumina or somebody like that, and he's going to be slotted to throw like the whole game if they end up winning the first game. The problem is you can't do that, Nick, if you lose the first game. You still got to throw your guy.
Yeah.
That rain out right now. When was that rain out? I mean, I got news for you. They never knew in a million years that rain out, whenever it was going to cause this much of a.
It was last week. It was the hurricane. It was the series before this last one. I think it was Tuesday.
Is that when it was? That makes sense. That was Atlanta, right? Or was it?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta.
So Atlanta basically has 3 games at home to try to win 1 to get in the postseason, and they might have blown today. As I watch here, I'm trying to keep up on them.
Well, the Mets and the Diamondbacks, this was their first win all week.
They're currently
the
down.
Mets hadn't won a game since last Sunday, and the Diamondbacks hadn't won a game since Wednesday.
Yeah, they're down to their last out. So. Well, no, they're not. It's not updated.
Yeah, no, they're still in the top of the ninth.
Top of the ninth, 2 outs. My bad.
They made a pitching change.
Yeah, like it took a while. It took a while for them to get. For nobody being on base, it seems like it's taken a while.
What does Fangraphs project? Fangraphs projects Sale versus Severino, and then Schwellenbach versus McGill. I'm sure they haven't announced any starters because they weren't even 100% sure they were going to play those games.
So they're going to have to play tomorrow, to be clear, right? 2 games, and then they're going to have to turn around.
But Sale's toast. Sale can't pitch in the playoffs because it's a 3-game series that starts on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like, he's done.
Sale pitch today?
No. Sale. If Sale starts game 1 tomorrow,
he won't throw tomorrow.
They're not. You don't think they will?
He's not going to throw game 1 tomorrow. He might throw game 2. He's not going to throw game 1. They're not going to throw Sale game 1.
You think you kind of have to hedge? So if this was the Reds, you would maybe throw Jacob Junis in game 1 and save Hunter Greene for game 2.
I guess this year is kind of a bad example. Nick Martinez you probably have to keep him around. Yeah, you're throwing like Junis or someone like that.
Fascinating. All right. Okay, you sold me a little bit more on my interest in game 1.
Yeah, game one's gonna be is very interesting because they both have to win that game. If you don't win that game, you find yourself in a spot where you are going to get the benefit of the doubt on game 2 of facing some low-level arms. But as we know in baseball, like they might go out there.
We saw position players. I saw Luke Maile throw a scoreless inning. So,
oh man.
But if you get down early in game 1, you have to just say we're we're playing for game 2. Like, or if you get down like a couple runs,
Yes.
I mean, I think you almost just kind of say, all right,
yes.
we're not risking it.
Which kind of goes towards your initial theory of the gentleman's handshake, because realistically speaking, the perfect way to do this would be to one team throw their starter for 3 or 4 innings, and then throw the bullpen the rest of the way and win hopefully like 7-1 or 2. And then just do the exact opposite for the other team, and then both teams are somewhat fresh going into the postseason. I just don't think that you can do that. I don't know. What a wild situation. Diamondbacks win and Mets win. Headed to the bottom of the 9th. Braves, Royals, 4-2. Royals want to win this game as well because I think it has implications
Are they still
for
playing?
them.
They are still playing for something. Okay.
They're playing to try to make sure that their seed, they would actually play the Orioles instead of the Astros. And
Is that better?
I think I would rather play the Orioles. I mean, I know what you're saying, but come on, like I just feel like the Astros, they find a way to win every single series there is known to man.
Paper clearly says you'd rather face the Astros, but your brain tells you you'd rather face the Orioles.
I'm sorry, I'd rather go into, and I don't know if the Orioles, even on paper, at this time of the year, is a team that I would trust more than the Astros. So we'll see. I mean, the Orioles have
a much deeper lineup, but
yeah.
Alvarez and Tucker and Altuve in the playoffs. That's
yeah.
But you never know if the Tigers. I mean, it'll be fat. It can Skubal just flip that whole series? You win game 1, you're 1-1 away from wrapping it up. So
it's almost like the postseason. If you're a team that has an ace, you'd almost rather play a team that's supposed to be way better than you in a 3-game series for sure, because then you can hopefully just win your first game with your ace and then just find a way to split the next 2. All right, well, I mean,
my God.
Some poetic justice. We have extra inning baseball at Wrigley Field.
Did you just see what happened?
No. Are you ahead of me?
Wait, do you see this?
Ethan Roberts comes into the game. Maile.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Nick Kroll is pissed. Freddie Benavidez, you're out of here.
Unbelievable, man.
They're challenging this?
No, he's sitting on the bench all by himself. Freddie's talking to him. Oh, man. All right, we got to sync this up.
That's one way to end the season.
I just saw the pitch to make it 1-1.
I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, God love him. Hey, listen, put your head up.
Let me know when you see the 0-1 or the one. I don't remember what it was.
0-1 misses low. He's getting an exchange for a ball, throws the ball back. I should get a
Yeah, we should be. We're close enough. Nicey Marte sitting all by himself.
Yeah, Steers got
nothing. Not even acknowledging him.
Nothing for him. He's like, fuck this kid. Excuse my language. Sorry, man. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. It's last game of the year. You can't hold nothing back now. What movie's that's Waterboy, ain't it?
Sounds right. I hope David Bell's watching this game right now.
Oh, David, dude, do you think David Bell's watching this game? That's a great question. That's the chat poll question of the day. Is David Bell actually watching?
Just sipping his bourbon? Oh, man.
Oh, no. Here we go.
And Maile rips his double.
Gosh. He doesn't even get a double out of it.
Yeah, but that was
too slow.
Oh, man.
You know what's crazy? You know, I'm gonna get in trouble. Someone's gonna send me an email about how they were watching this show with their kids or something, and I said I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I'm sorry. He would have been bunting anyway. So if Blake Dunn steals this base and then steals third base, then he totally redeems Marte. He's got to steal both these bases though. Nice. That's a good pitch. Don't think India liked it. I'll tell you what, man. Rick Council kind of looks old.
One out in Atlanta. By the way, the Brewers, the Royals are not using their closer. They're using their setup man. Could be strategic, though, because he's a lefty. He's facing a lefty right now. What a world.
Yeah, got one out with one guy on. They're one swing at the bat in Atlanta from tying the game.
Royals are doing a exchange of the catcher's mask. They needed a replacement catcher's mask.
Got the top of the lineup, though, for the Braves. Harris had a 3-hit day.
Who would you rather play? Would you rather play the Padres or the Brewers?
Padres.
You'd rather play the Padres?
I think the Brewers are slept on, man. They're hard. They're hard to beat. I know last year they've not had good postseason success, so everybody sleeps on them. But I don't know. I've not really watched the Padres play a ton, to be fair. And I mean, I know they got bigger names.
Dylan Cease, though, in a 3-game series. Like, the Brewers don't have a Dylan Cease.
Yeah, that's true.
Padres, I think, are maybe tougher in a 3-game series.
Yeah, they're the team that I was saying that you would want to play someone that you think's better than you. They're like the Tigers. I'll tell you what, them flags are absolutely ripping.
Yeah, there's a couple balls that just, like, completely changed course. 2 outs in Atlanta.
Good at bat by India.
All right. All right, Elly.
This is the time for Elly to silence all the clutch critics. I'm just saying, it's time to do it right here. Got an opportunity.
I was a little late getting back home for this game today. And so I was listening to the radio for the first about inning in the pregame show. Freddie Benavidez talked about Elly De La Cruz like he had a mediocre season. And then Tommy Thrall, when Elly's first at bat, is talking with Cowboy like Elly just kind of had a okay season. Like
who was giving that persona off? You said before was Cowboy.
Well, Thrall was asking Benavidez in the normal pregame manager talk.
Yes.
About Elly De La Cruz's season, and Freddie was just like, well, he's got to cut down the strikeouts, he's got to be smarter on the bases, blah blah blah, and it was just like talking about I think he said he had a fine season.
Yeah, well,
a fine season. This team would have won 70 games.
That's a ball.
At least he's still getting those calls against for the last game.
I'll tell you, I'm not trying to make excuses for Elly, but I mean, these missed pitches from time to time just they rear his ugly head, man.
Just puts him right behind in the at bat.
Yeah. Well, there's the silence the doubters. Silence the doubters. Silence the doubters, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. Do it for Marte, baby.
Woohoo!
Nice. Nice. All right. All right. All right, Elly. Elly gets did he got a double, right? That wasn't a triple, was it?
Two strike hitting. Oh man.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
By the way, we also
That
have
is a
chaos
triple.
tomorrow. We have chaos tomorrow. The Royals win.
Yes, they did. Royals win. Boy, that's going to be fun. All right, let me close out of that browser. Back to the Red Legs.
Oh, Elly did get the third.
Yep. Elly got a triple, and the only reason I ask is because I seen that parlay, and it was absolutely absurd parlay. Tyler Stephenson hits a home run right here, and I think it's got a chance, chat. That parlay was like $10 to win 1,000.
There could be some people out here that had Reds money line today with pretty substantial wagers, so not over yet.
Hey.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Look at that. It's baseball. This is a baseball team. Man, it's just nice to see score some runs, you know? It's been a while. It's been a while. Nothing made me laugh harder, though, in the 7th inning when Stadak was like, the Reds hasn't scored since Wednesday. It's like, oh, man. Not good when the NFL Red Zone's on when you're hearing a comment like that. Tell you what, Sears struggled.
Yeah, you're gonna finish with a below 100. Yeah, he's at a 96 WRC plus. He pretty much has to hit a home run probably to get him back even.
Yeah, well.
96 WRC plus.
No, he's had a pretty bad year. Call it whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, we talked all year about Jake Fraley.
Yeah, he's
and how disappointing Fraley is, and Fraley's 94.
There's only one outfielder that I would say is reasonably to be expected to be out there next year, and it's TJ Friedl. And the only reason for that is I think defensively he kind of can carry the load a little bit. That's it. That's it. Outfield's got to be better. I mean, we all know that. And TJ Friedl's got to have to be better, too. Like, I'm giving him a pass just because I think center field's probably the toughest position to play. He's played it relatively well. He's shown pretty good signs. And he's been hurt this year. So I'm hoping if he's healthy, he would bounce back to what we expect him to be. But I'm also not naive in saying this out loud that going into next year, I'm not going to sit here and act like TJ Friedl's a linchpin to be an everyday center fielder in Major League Baseball, which unfortunately is far too much of our team.
Wait, I didn't see this earlier either.
Elly, obviously superstar in the waiting. Work on the quantity. Great. Love and kind of wanted to show some love to him for these are De La Cruz, India, Stephenson. There may be a surprise in here, folks. So for Jonathan, I definitely, again, kind of wanted to show some love to him for some
Wait, Sam LeCure called Jonathan India the team MVP this year? In the pregame show? Oh, man. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't know.
Someone just sent me that. Let's watch it to talk about Benavides. Oh, man. Must have watched a different sport this year, Trace.
He had one good month.
India was great. I mean, India might be the second best offensive player on the team,
but I'm saying,
well, Stephenson's there, but
Stevenson's
the gap
best.
between all of them and Elly is.
I don't know, man. Can we get some consistency? Is all I ask. Consistency, like guys that aren't going to just be completely off the reservation for months on end. India's fine, okay. I have no problem with India, but I also can openly say, like, can we not worry a little bit the fact that he had his best month in professional baseball of all time in 1 month of baseball this year? That boosted his statistics significantly, which I get it. It was part of the season.
Well, Chad's saying that he picked Stephenson, not either way, though. That's still
Stephenson's okay. I can take Stephenson, but I mean Elly's the MVP. Elly's the MVP, but that's okay. I mean, I don't really care. They were all not good enough. Besides, you could argue Elly was good.
I mean, we're talking a 6-win player and a 2.9 win player.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone buys into that though, but I do understand what you're saying. I don't know if everyone's going to buy into your war.
Higher average, higher on base percentage, higher slugging percentage, more home runs, more RBIs, 67 more stolen bases. What are we doing here? Is Tyler Stephenson winning a Gold Glove behind the plate? Like, he's been good, fine. What are we doing?
I'm not going to get bent sideways about it. I don't give a damn. Are we arguing about whoever the ugliest pig was? That seems like what we're doing.
Whoa. Let's not call Elly an ugly pig.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about the team as a whole. We're trying to pick out the prettiest girl at the hole-in-the-wall bar in the middle of never mind.
We got the glasses?
Is this
I mean, it has to be, right?
I don't know.
Oh no, it's Buck Farmer.
Yeah, I thought he wasn't available. He's not available.
Oh man.
These puppies are going to be retired, I think. Unfortunately.
Could this be it for Buck Farmer?
I was thinking that about Maile. Was it Maile's last at bat's going to be that hit? Good for him. Well, the good news is I'm glad the last show is going to have a little bit of length to it because, I was a little concerned that we weren't going to be able to go out on the bang on this show. We were probably going to come in here and say a couple nice words and have a good old fun time. And we did avoid the 5-minute show, though. We never did get to it.
I don't think we did one under 30 all year.
Get your money's worth here at Chatterbox Reds. I did see some people are asking me if I recovered from last night. Yes, I have. Yes, I'm good. No problem. Okay. Was it heartbreaking? Slightly. But I feel very good about the team. Turn the ball over 4 times and still have a chance to win on the road. It's a good feeling.
It's a bad under bet.
Yeah, look at Jonathan India.
Oh,
baby!
Oh!
2025! That's a good play. Got to give it to Ty France, too, getting back to the bag in time.
Who
Man, what
yelled
a
out the
play.
F yeah at the end of that?
Heck yeah, he knows that helps. That defensive run saved. You know what's kind of sad about that, though? Like the whole those metrics are kind of tough sometimes because they're not going to account for what hop you get there, right? Like you could have got a Sunday hop on that.
All right.
India doesn't know there's 2 outs. Yeah. All right, good. I thought he was jogging in there to do the old handshake line. Look at Buck Farmer.
It's just a leader. Extend him.
Yep. I don't think we need to change a thing. We just had a couple bad luck things go not our way.
Oh yeah, we're on draft pick watch. I forgot about that. Pirates 4-4 in the 5th. They were rained in a rain delay. Rangers won last night, so the Reds are at least 9th best odds.
What happens if the Pirates win?
Pirates, well, I don't think anything because the Reds, if the Reds win.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, this actually makes it, yeah. The Reds would be 9th if they win. Which I believe is let's see, 2.7%.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
3% for number 2. I wish they could tell me what's their odds of like the top 5 altogether. I'm guessing it's like 40%. Do you add them up? I don't know.
You add those up.
You add up the numbers and that would,
Yeah.
does it equal 100?
It will equal 100 by the time you get to the last opportunity they would have to pick. Yes.
So I guess I could just add the other ones. So
as long as they keep calculating those odds for every single pick, your chances to get that specific pick, not that pick are better.
6, 9, 23. I think it's like a 33% chance of picking in the top 6. But they can't pick 7th and 8th, no matter what. I don't know how that works.
Well, tying run coming to the plate.
Good. Can we move up the odds? There's still time.
Oh, not like a 35-minute show so far. Michael Busch. 4 walks.
This guy has some pop. Although I
I
don't want to say it.
Spinner up there. Keep throwing that little spinner up there. Make him hit it out with the wind blowing. Although to right field, I don't know if it's blowing as well. Yep, just keep throwing that. Come on, one last time. Like, what are we doing, Tyler? Change-ups. We spend, just throw another curveball. Like, why are we wasting our time? That should be an out. That's it. That's it. We got a show to do. We got a show to do. Didn't know if this was ever going to make its way back. Didn't know if it was going to make its way back in 2024, but you know what? Here we go.
And a bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. And the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. You believe it. Johnny Bench has tied it up.
The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Hawkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Orlando to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatterberg's a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Win. Line to the right field. Junior, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right
right, that'll do it on a 2024 campaign. And the Reds, they go off as victors 3-0 against the not so lovable losers from the north side of Chicago, the Cubs 0. 3-0. Nick, we got a length of a show before the show actually began. For those that are obviously watching on YouTube, we won't divulge kind of all of that, although I know that much of this kind of comes back in podcast form. So a lot of interesting things happening in Major League Baseball. The Reds, at least if nothing else, added some excitement towards the end of their game. And I don't know about you, but I got to admit, I'm selfishly thankful that what was just a dumpster fire for quite some time has officially been put out, and we can at least watch some playoff baseball, although it's not our lovely Reds again. But I'm excited for it. Playoff baseball is fun to watch. God knows when we'll be able to watch it again with our favorite team.
We'll be watching it this time next year. I firmly believe it. And if I ever stop believing that, then I probably won't be that interested in the Cincinnati Reds. Next year's going to be a good year, Trace. Yeah, look, I don't know, always bittersweet. Game 162, regardless of how the season goes. I mean, I'm definitely ready for a break. But I'm excited about the offseason. It's going to be an interesting offseason for the Reds. And I'm sure that's something we'll talk about today.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. But as we always do, we have a box score recap to get to and a deep drive that probably never existed, but we'll make one up because that's just what we do on this show. Box score recap presented by Nick Kirby.
All right, Reds sticking on the Cubs. Game 162, Hunter Greene, strong finale to his really strong season. 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Did walk 3, but 3 strikeouts. Greene finishes with a 2.75 ERA on the season, 1.09 ERA over his last 10 starts. Reds offense continued to struggle. The Reds made it 28 consecutive innings without a run. Looked like we might go an entire 4 final days of the year without a run scored. Nothing going into the 10th inning as the Reds bullpen just threw up 0 after 0 after 0. Noelvi Marte was the ghost runner to start the inning, and Noelvi Marte got picked off to start the inning. Looked like that was maybe how the year was going to end, but the rest of the squad had different plans. Luke Maile singled, Jonathan India walked, and then Elly De La Cruz crushed a double, 101 off the bat, down the right field line, scoring 2 runs, making it 2-0. Tyler Stephenson then singled up the middle to make it 3-0, and that would be more than enough for Buck Farmer. Free agent after the end of the season, got his first save of the entire season. Reds win 3-0 in 10 innings. Reds finish the 2024 season 77-85.
All right, we have a deep drive of the day by Noelvi Marte. And by deep drive of the day, of course, on days like today, it's a fly out to the center fielder, Pete Crow Armstrong. It was well hit, though. It was well hit. We would be disingenuous not to say that. Wind was blowing in at Wrigley, 105.4 off the bat, 371 feet, and that would keep the score at 0-0. And as we all know, the Reds would go on to win 3-0. But the deep drive of the day is sponsored by DSC, Deep South Commodities. They are a leader in renewable commodities, specializing in biofuel production, used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. All right, Hunter Greene got a chance to throw 2 more times this season, Nick. We said we'd like to see that. How much it means, I guess, is yet to be determined, but I just like the idea that if you're healthy enough to be able to pitch, go out there and get some experience, because I don't know if any of these guys have enough experience at this point to be able to just phone in the season just because you had a little bit of a bruise on your elbow because you bumped it into a cabinet. Having said that, I am thankful, though, that he stayed healthy, and he looked relatively like the same guy he was before. And heading into an offseason, I feel a lot better about that than I would have if they just said, oh, Hunter Greene's not going to throw again for the rest of the season. We'll see him back in spring training in 2025. Maybe I'm an idiot for thinking that way, but it's a nice little small token or peace of mind that I will have heading into what would be the winter.
Yeah, nice to see the Red Stars show up in the final game of the year. Greene pitched well. Elly De La Cruz had the biggest hit. I mean, these are the two best players on this team, and it's not even remotely close, in my opinion. These are two players that I don't think you're really going too far off a limb if to say that it's possible that Elly De La Cruz could be the NL MVP next year. Of course, maybe could finish second if Shohei Ohtani pitches, because that's another. But that aside, he could be the best offensive player in the National League next year, and Hunter Greene could win the Cy Young next year. So, for all the things that went wrong with the Reds this year, those two things have gone about as well as you can. Would have liked to see maybe Greene throw a few more innings this year, but nice to see him get a couple more here at the end to hopefully build off next year. But yeah, I mean, these are the two guys that have always been the two most likely candidates to be superstars, and they look like they are. Elly's already a superstar. I think Greene's pretty close.
He's close.
I mean, he's going to probably finish top 10 in the Cy Young votes. I don't know. If he didn't get hurt, I mean, I think he's probably finishing top 5.
Yeah, he's close. He's right there. He's somebody that we can certainly feel great about heading into 2025. So there's just not enough of those to go around, and I'm not going to complain or nitpick at any of the guys that we feel good about heading into 2025. Adding into that discussion, Tyler Stephenson had another hit today. Just a good year for Tyler Stephenson, and that wasn't guaranteed heading into this season. A guy that I kind of had written off from a defensive perspective. Just still borderline defensively. I'm not totally bought in on, but I will admit, if he's able to be as productive as he was at the plate as a catcher, to be clear, as a catcher, then he's more than serviceable to be on a team that can make a good run into the postseason and maybe win a championship. So, do I still wish we would have a really good defensive catcher, Nick, on the back end of some really, really tight games or something where you can maybe have a defensive replacement type situation? I do, but I'll also openly admit Tyler Stephenson very much improved, and that is very much appreciated. Heading into Game 162 as a whole, I know we had talked about this at great length kind of before we started the show, but listen, it was very much ho-hum, much of the same. Just weren't able to get enough guys on base, honestly. Sometimes you can't get guys in, Nick. This team struggled to get guys on base. I mean, it'd be one thing if we were stranding 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys a game, Nick, and scoring 0 runs. But we're scoring 0 runs, and we got 3 or 4 hits to show for it. Today, they were able to scratch out a few late. And I know that seems kind of trivial, but it at least takes a little bit of the burden off the fact that, the end of the year stretch that we've had the last week and a half just has felt abysmal ever since the David Bell firing. And I'm not saying it's because of that, but it just seemed like a really, really bad way to end the 2020 or 2024 season.
Yeah, it would have been pretty miserable to end the year on a 6-game losing streak. Reds do finish the month of September with a winning record, 13-12. So the Reds had a winning record in March, April, June, July, and September this year. So really just the May was the killer. August 12-17, not as big, but the May was, where the season was lost. But other than that, as bad as this team looked at times, to have had that many winning months, I think just shows you how far pitching can take you. And the Reds have pitching. I think we all want them to improve this team offensively. I think they need to improve defensively as much as offensively. I think they two go hand in hand. But yeah, you can win a lot of games on really, really good pitching. And the Reds pitching overall, I know the team stats don't really show it at the end of the year if someone's looking at it that didn't watch this team. But I feel like if you watch this team on a night in, night out basis, you have to feel really good about this team's pitching, where it's going forward. Bullpen has got a lot of questions next year, but there are a lot of options, which that's a good kind of a good way. But I still think they do need to add some bullpen pieces too.
We'll see what 2024 and then into 2025 the all season has. But Ned Flanders wants he wants really quickly to let Benavidez magic today on the 162. Congratulations to Freddie Benavidez. He says 3-year extension. Not a bad idea. We'll see how that goes within Reds fan base if that happens. Doubtful, as we all know. All right, one final time here on what has been a long season. Game Time. If you're looking to get tickets perhaps to other things, we've talked about it before. There's a lot of college basketball on the way, but there's also some football to be played. Shout out to the Bengals. They found a way to get a victory in Carolina, and they think they have a big game against the Ravens coming up. And if you're looking to get tickets, there's no better place to go than the Game Time app. Download it today. Use the code CINCY, C-I-N-C-Y. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. And many folks that obviously watch a show on a daily basis are 100% sports fans, and just would say that if you need tickets, there's literally not a better way than just have that app sitting on your phone whenever you may need it. Another thing that is obviously relevant whenever you may need it is 988. Please text or call anytime. Very, very much appreciated for them of supporting us and our show and the endeavors that we try to do on a daily basis. I know, Nick, we don't take it lightly. I don't think for a second when we started to do this show, we ever really contemplated what it would end up meaning to certain people or what, the enjoyment would be from the opposite side of this. It was more or less just an opportunity for us to talk about a team that we both love and a franchise we both love on a daily basis, and it's turned into something that I don't think either one of us would ever have imagined, and that is quite literally a community has been built, and it takes support to continue to do this, and I just want to say thank you to Game Time, thank you to Deep South Commodities, and also thank you to Tony and his team for supporting a small business, because that's really what we are. I think sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle of Chatterbox about, we get lumped in sometimes with some bigger brands, and that's fine. I appreciate us. I appreciate people kind of trying to put us on a pedestal with some of these others, but we are such the mom and pop shop, comparatively speaking, to these others, regardless of how it looks, and their support is very much appreciated and helpful. And Deep South Commodities, John and his teams 100% just gave you an opportunity to do this on a daily basis, and I can't thank them enough. And then obviously Tony and his team came in late that has given us the ability to be able to kind of extend ourselves and do some other things. So as always, call, text 988-mantherapy.org if you ever need it. So, all right, jumping into some other things, other topics of conversation here. Reds news, more or less, is going to be surrounding what they do at the managerial level. That's going to be the top of the list, right? I don't think anybody's going to want to have conversations about next season until that box gets checked. The question is when will that get checked? I know we kind of made some over-unders there earlier. I don't know. I don't know what your thought process on this is totally yet, if you've kind of come to a conclusion, but my guess is that the Reds are going to try to act on this relatively fast because they have some bigger picture decisions to make sooner than later. And if they don't make those decisions sooner than later, I do wonder how much the manager is going to have a say in what this roster makeup looks like in 2025. And I know everybody says that's not the manager's job, is roster makeup. But come on, Nick, they have to have some semblance of at least kind of a seat at the table when they go about making these decisions. How quick are they going to go about it, do you think? And do you think it's important that they try to go get somebody relatively soon?
Well, Bob Nightingale reported today that Skip Schumacher is the number one target for the Cincinnati Reds. He also said that David Ross is expected to be interviewed. So obviously in Schumacher's case, can't be interviewed until after the season ended. So Nick Krall kind of also said they've pretty much finishing up their list this weekend and are going to start interviews next week. So that would kind of go in line with that. Again, I still think Francona should be above that, but again, we have no idea if he's actually interested or not. But if Schumacher's their number one choice, like that says, then it pretty much is on Skip Schumacher's time frame, right? I mean, if I guess they could give him a deadline if they interview him and say, yep, we want a decision in the next 5-10 days. But you're pretty much going to be waiting on him. There was another piece of news from that Nightingale reporting. I will get to that in a second, but I guess kind of get to your thoughts first on if Schumacher being the number one candidate, and if you even put any stock into that reporting.
No, I'm not putting stock into that reporting, especially when it comes from Bob Nightingale. With all due respect to his son, who was a good writer for the Enquirer, no disrespect to Bobby. If it's Skip Schumacher, as I said before, I'm okay with that. I also would wonder what. It's certainly weird, but I also wonder what relationships, if any, get severed because the Reds don't decide that they want to pursue somebody in-house and or Barry Larkin. Does it matter? I don't think it matters, but it definitely seems like Barry wants the job. I'll be interested to see how they handle that, whether they even gets an interview. And I don't know if it would get reported if he gets an interview or not, but it would be interesting nonetheless. So Skip Schumacher, if he's their number one choice, I think he's going to take the job.
Yeah, I would imagine if I was Barry Larkin, I would not want it to get reported. I would kind of want that to be on the down low, because you certainly don't want it reported that you were interviewed and didn't get the job, because that's not something you probably want out there. I don't have any issue with Skip Schumacher. And again, this is taking this reporting with a grain of salt. I don't really love the idea if the Reds already go into this with Skip Schumacher being the number one target. Like, if that's actually true, I kind of want them to go into these interviews with an open mind and really do some hardcore vetting and kind of hear their vision for the team and, how they would coincide. I kind of like, and I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit. Like, I feel like Francona might be a little bit different just because he's on a different pedestal for me, but I don't know. I don't really love the idea, if that's true, the Reds going into this feeling like we're going to try to get Skip Schumacher.
I don't know. I mean, I guess the real big question would be, is there anyone on their list that they're 100% dead set on, that when they interview them, as long as they don't come in and make an absolute mockery of the interview process and fool of themselves, then they're actually going to get the job? Or is it going to be genuinely, hey, let's see how all these guys shake out in the interview process? At the end of the day, I don't give a damn how they pick their next manager. I just want there to be a decision that's made in a relatively timely manner so we can move on. And I don't want to sit here and act like I don't think it matters at all. I just don't know what the list of availability is. And until I have a general idea of who was available and who they could have taken, it's hard for me to sit here and speculate on whether or not they're going to make the right decision or not. So, but based off Kral's comments, I think it's safe to say that Nick Krall made it very clear during his little presser that he wants somebody that's going to have a little more accountability as a top level, or one of the topper level of the things that they do, versus culture, versus managing egos, or whatever it is. It's very much going to be, you need to probably show up and do your job. And if you don't, there's going to be some more repercussions than there has been in the past. A la today. I mean, I know that Freddie Benavidez went down there to talk to Marte, but you can't hit a $190, and strike out 90 times and get picked off at second base and think that there isn't some repercussions that you're not going to play again. Like, at some point, we got to stop trying to make sure we feel like we're going to hurt every single prospect or new kid's ego or anything like that. And I think, if anything, that was David Bell's only flaw. I mean, he gave Will Benson a billion opportunities, and I think some of that's just because of the way the season shaked out, to be fair. But let's be honest, like, Will Benson having that many opportunities afforded to him in a year where you're actually, quote-unquote, trying to make the postseason is damn near downright laughable. And even, I would even argue, Nick, like, Marte in the middle of the season getting that long of a leash, kind of wild too, especially when Espinal was playing as well as he was for some short time. But we'll see how it goes. Do you think Schumacher's like the top pick? Like, is he really the top guy?
I mean, it seems like everything's pointing that way. I don't know. I mean, it definitely seems like that's the odds-on favorite. It seems like it would be silly to bet any other way. So I don't know. We'll see how that shakes out. But there was some other news in that. I did not see this one coming at all. Reds are expected to be among the teams aggressively pursuing Sonny Gray this offseason, as the Cardinals have a plan to shop the veteran starter as they're looking to cut payroll.
I mean, I'll take him. That's wild. How's that going over in St. Louis?
Not well. I would be eager to read the comments on that. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I don't think you can give much up for Sonny Gray. If you do, I mean, I think you look pretty stupid, since you had a chance to sign Sonny Gray last year as a free agent for the same amount of money, or maybe a tiny bit more than St. Louis paid. So you would almost either have to have St. Louis pay for part of the contract and you give up a prospect, or it's pretty much just a straight salary dump, right?
Salary dump is basically where I'm at with that. As far as a real prospect going back in return for Sonny Gray, the answer is no.
I agree. I mean, again, we're always talking within the budget. I mean, I guess if your budget's only so much and St. Louis would pay half of it if you give up a prospect, I don't love that idea. I'd rather just spend the money, certainly, but if that's the only way you can improve the team, and Crawl and company are kind of have their hand forced in that, their hands tied, I don't know. I mean, it kind of seems wild, but I wouldn't be against going just all in on the pitching and just seeing how far that can take you if that's the best way of improving the team.
I don't know. Too early for me to make decisions. I'm trying to come down from the low that has been the 2024 campaign. I'm not in the midseason form, and by midseason I mean mid-off-season form of what exactly I want on this roster yet. It's tough to say. But speaking of the offseason, I think people in the chat have asked, what are we going to do this offseason? What are the plans?
Well, Trace, but before we get to that, there should be someone in your screen somewhere that wants to get in on this action and is on a time crunch.
Okay, didn't know they were on a time crunch. So what I was going to say was going into the offseason, there's a lot of things that obviously we still haven't discussed a whole lot of. Certainly, Chatterbox Reds has been something that many of you have enjoyed. We get it. We know that you want some offseason content. One person that has been a part of this journey, probably more so than many others, is Craig. On the final day of the season, we were hoping to bring Craig in on the show. Didn't know he was on a time crunch. Would have tried to bring him in a little bit smoother, or sooner, not smoother. But now's the time. We'll bring him in. We'll see what he has to say. Craig, first and foremost, thanks, I guess, from myself, as always, filling in for us at a damn near moment's notice, 98% of the time. You're like J.J. Redick or somebody from the free throw line, as much as you've converted here. But have you watched much of the show, and do you have anything that you want to add?
So I've been at dinner. We're on our way to a concert. We're going to see Flogging Molly.
Flogging Molly?
Okay. Yeah.
Looking
so on my way there, and was at dinner during. Yeah. So didn't get to listen to the first bit of it, but I've been on for the last little bit. The one thing that's interesting to me about Sonny Gray is that he has a full no trade clause, and so he would have to agree after last offseason deciding not to come to Cincinnati to now waive his no trade clause to come to Cincinnati after just a year in St. Louis. I think you would be follow nonetheless, but just because the Reds are interested doesn't mean that Sonny Gray is interested. Is out over there.
He's trying.
Salary dump. It's hard to imagine a scenario where the Reds are going to give up a whole lot for 2 years of Sonny Gray, but I do think that there's a need to. If Sonny Gray's that answer, then I'm on board.
Where are you headed to right now?
We're headed to Graceland.
Graceland.
So the show is at Graceland Soundstage.
Nice.
So Flogging Molly taking over Elvis's home. So we're on the highway right now, about 10 minutes away from the show. Doors open at 6 Central, and then there's an opening act, the Rum Jacks, that respectfully I've never heard of in my life, but shout out to the Rum Jacks. I'm sure they're going to put on a great show. And then we'll see if I get in the middle of a mosh pit during Flogging Molly or what I do. But
right.
Excited for a fun nonetheless.
Would you ask the folks at Graceland if they wouldn't mind installing a few more cell towers around the area when they get a chance? Now, having said that, nobody's ever heard of the Rum Jacks. I'm fairly confident that most of Reds country has never heard of the Flogging Mollies, whatever that is. It looks, just so you know, they Drunken Lullabies, If I Ever Leave This World. What are some other songs? It looks like Devil's Dance Floor. What are you listening to, Craig?
A lot of really good. You'll recognize many of them. If I Ever Leave This World Alive got a lot of attention several years ago because it was in a movie soundtrack. I can't place the movie now off the top of my head, but they got a little bit of mainstream coverage back then. I just drove past a cell tower, so my hope is that my reception's a little bit better as we
you look great.
Work our way. Perfect. I'm glad the iPhone's doing me justice here as my wife kindly drives this last leg here. But Drunken Lullabies, the encore of Salty Dog, according to the online set list. I'm not sure if anybody in the chat prefers to know the set list before you go or to find out surprised, but the wife and I have done a little research. We know the set list. Excited for tonight's show, and this is our third or fourth time seeing Flogging Molly live now. So
wow.
If you're into Irish punk music, I highly recommend you check out Flogging Molly if you don't already know.
Well, a couple more times seeing the Flogging Mollies, and they might consider you a groupie. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. Who knew that I'd be doing Flogging Molly concerts as often as I do Chatterbox Reds?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? But I just wanted to say, I know you wanted to, Nick obviously wanted to make sure that you were here. I totally agree. You've been a part of this show for what has been almost all season long, and we appreciate your effort in helping us out on a night in and night out basis. Not only are you helping on the show from time to time, but you got a wrench now. You're in the chat every single night. So yeah, you're a big part of the show. We just wanted to say thank you.
And a Chatterbox Bengals star.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. I know my wife is a saint for letting me do it, and I'm sure your families agree as well. It's a bit of a sacrifice on her part as well to allow me to do the show. She's got to do bedtime a lot with our 7-year-old daughter on her own, and Nick, I know you with a couple youngins around can feel the same way. So shout out to our wives and our families for allowing us to do this. And Trace, I don't know if Fergie's in the chat today or not, but shout out to Fergie for allowing you to take the time that you got to do to run this company. But yeah, Chatterbox Bengals, big win today over Andy Dalton and the Panthers. Offense, again, looked great. Defense, not so great. We'll have some things to clean up. We'll be live Tuesday and Thursday this week, as always, with Jacob Tissett and myself on Tuesday, and then live from Champions Grill on Thursday, I believe, this week. So if you're in the Hamilton area, or on the west side, I should say, make sure you get out there and check out the show with Jacob, Elliot, Casey, and the gang. I'm not sure if Reed's going to be there this week or not, but nonetheless, appreciate you guys tuning in all year. And I'm looking forward to an off season. I've said it before, but my brain is already shifting to excitement for 2025. I'm trying to hold it back, but I got to be honest. You've got a bona fide superstar in Elly De La Cruz, a bona fide ace in Hunter Greene. The window is there. I'm just hoping that this front office takes advantage. Big offseason for Nick Krall. You talked about the accountability for the manager position. I think that accountability is a little bit of an extension to Nick Krall because his butt is on the line this offseason just as much as anybody else. So looking forward to it, and I'm sure Nick, yourself, and I will be covering all offseason long as news breaks.
All right, Craig, I'll let you go on this. Is there any chance in the world that we could get some kind of a cappella of any of these songs that you just mentioned?
The one that you guys know is If I Ever Leave This World Alive. So if I ever leave this world alive, I thank you for the, I don't even know the words. Yeah, my wife knows. Whatever.
I mean,
I'll enjoy the
that was
show.
so good. We're going to get a copyright strike because that sounded so close.
Exactly.
To the real
In fact, you want to blame somebody, you can blame Nick, because I would have had like 3 or 4 of these songs ripping throughout the soundtrack, but I would have gotten some nasty text or some very hyper, what do they call that? Passive aggressive message in the chat about how we're giving all our money away to Frog and Molly or whatever their names is. I would have had some fun with this, but no fun Nick. He's got to spoil all the plans and make sure that we don't get any copyright strikes. Even though I'm damn near sure as soon as this thing ends, I'm going to get an email about how we've been demonetized and then we got to fight for our copyright law. Whatever it is, we got like 500 emails.
Fight the law every night, Trace. I
Yeah,
fight
you
the
do.
law every night.
Behind the scenes of
stupid
Chatterbox
intro.
Reds, that everybody gets a little insight. Nick's fighting the copyright law every single night on it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But anyways, thank you, Craig. You enjoy the rest of your night and stay safe. Don't get too crazy.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you, Craig.
We'll talk to you soon.
See you.
See ya.
All right. Putting a bow on this thing that is 2024. Listen, when you do a show like this every single night, it becomes a little bit at times that like it feels like it's never going to end. And I do know that is the case for everybody that does this show. I know can't speak directly to how Nick feels on a day in and day out basis, and I can't speak to Craig at times, but the only thing that gets me through, and I'm going to be dead honest right now, the only thing that gets me through is all the people that somewhat come in here and support us and this chat and the thousands that listen in podcast form. And when me and Nick had talked about doing this, the biggest fear, quite frankly, was what happens inevitably when you have a season that just goes off the rails and you have a ball club that's basically left for dead with 60 days or 45 days left in the season. What does that look like? How can you do it? Is it worth the sacrifice? And you guys make it worth it. You make it worth it, and it's tough. I mean, we tried our best for the last 45 days to be as relevant and as entertaining and try to provide some semblance of insight. And there are things that you try to say, and maybe you say too much on one night and you don't say enough the next night, but overall, the goal has always been the same, and that's to build a community of people that care and want to watch the Reds and have someone else to talk to about it when the game's over. So we'll continue to try to be that resource as always. Nick, I don't know if we really have concrete plans of what the offseason looks like. We kind of, last season, I think we'll do it the same way. Unless news breaks about the manager situation, Nick deserves some time off. And I would just say that probably get us through the World Series time frame, and then we'll start to have some semblance of a plan moving forward. As far as next season goes, I will also openly say the goal is to do it every single night, but me and Nick are probably going to have to find a way with our families to try to offload some of the burden of being able to do this for all 162. And that's just for obvious reasons. So we're not going to go anywhere. I don't want to put that notion out there that we're going anywhere. I don't want even the thought process that what we do is going to change. It's just that we're hopeful to add maybe a few more people into the fold to kind of help burden the load. We can't be Fernando Cruz all year long, Nick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And in terms of the off season, I mean, I'll definitely there'll be a lot more content than there was last year. I mean, I'll probably try to take a little bit of time off. I don't really want to force stuff. I don't want to have shows where I'm trying to make topics appear out of nowhere. But if there's any news that breaks, it doesn't have to be big news. Like if the news today about Sonny Gray being interested, if something like that breaks on Wednesday, or there's a report on that, I'll either find Trace or Craig or someone, and I'll have them come on and we'll talk about it for a few minutes, and we'll try to do that. I also have a lot of people I want to reach out to about some interviews. I already have a pretty I believe, pretty exciting minor league player that's agreed to come on. So I'm going to try to reach out to him and start working on some of that stuff. But we'll have a lot of content. I know the offseason calendar here around some of the bigger deadlines, try to have some content specifically around that. So here is your offseason calendar. November 3rd through 7th, that's 5 days after the World Series ends. That's when trades can start happening. Free agency begins. The player options like Nick Martinez, Jacob Junis, Luke Maile. Not sure if I missed anyone. They have to be accepted or declined. And then your qualifying offers have to be submitted within 5 days of the World Series. And then November 14th, qualifying offer decision deadline. So around that, we'll certainly probably have some content about Nick Martinez, Jacob Junis. Probably not Luke Maile, with all due respect. But then the big one, maybe the biggest one for me, is the November 22nd. And this is something I definitely want to spend a lot of time on, is the non-tender deadline. So this is when all the guys that are Rule 5 eligible, guys like Tyler Callahan, guys like Jose Acuna, there's a lot of really good Reds prospects that are Rule 5 eligible. Reds are going to have to make a decision on that. So we'll kind of break all that down. And then December 8th through 11th, that's the winter meetings. So I would like, depending on what that looks like, I'd like to have shows maybe every day. I'm not sure if they'll be at night or during the day, but definitely would like to have a lot of content around that. Draft lottery, Reds look like they are going to have the 9th best odds of the first pick, which is about 3%, in the Rule 5 draft on December 11th. So that's what we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to baseball tomorrow, Monday. If you're listening to podcasts, there's going to be some fun games with the chaos with the Braves and the Mets. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to watching the playoffs and having a good time.
Yeah, and the next time you see me, I do plan on changing the setup. As far as the dunking of the basketball, I know it's become a little bit of a tradition. I don't think we're going to give I don't know if that's going to go away. I don't know if that'll go away or not. But for one final time, you're going to see this setup. And for one also final time, we're going to have to do the traditionals. Because I don't know if they're going to come back, to be honest. Might have some different ones heading into next season. And they'll organically come about. But I think this one's going to get put to bed based off of Nick just going to have to put that to bed.
Nick Cage, I will love you forever. But that's it. You're dead.
Fair enough. I almost made a joke, but sometimes I don't make jokes because I just don't want to get myself canceled because I just don't know the calamity or what kind of temperature is in the room with all these celebrities and the stories that are coming out. But I don't know. Is Nick Cage safe in that whole scandal? Is he safe? I hope.
I hope so.
Anyways, just something to think about. Don't want to be promoting something that's not appropriate. That said, I'm gonna try to go dunk a basketball. My kids have taken over the basement, rightfully so. I'm gonna try to carve out my own little space so I don't have to worry about basically stopping my kids from being kids. And I get that many of you could care less what's behind me, but I got to be also honest with you. When we do clips, social media clips from time to time, it's like, golly, do I really want 100,000 people that possibly could see this clip looking at who's this clown, which I am one, talking with T-Rex behind him? I don't know. So I'm probably going to get a new setup. Shout out for that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you. It's been a tough season. Its season has not been fun. But it was a season that we all got to experience together. And I was thinking today, as my final parting thoughts here before I go dunk this basketball and we end the show, is, life in general, most times, most of the things that I've enjoyed accomplishing or getting to or having the ability to complete have always been something that has been incredibly difficult for me to obtain. And there were many times throughout my life I thought that I was never going to get there and I was just wasting my time, and I just kept pushing through and hoping that there was a better day tomorrow, and I just try to stay in the present. And I know many of us at times, in certain times of our lives, we all go through tough times, and being a Reds fan is not for the weary, but I will also say that when we get an opportunity to experience what we all are hoping for, it's going to be one of the best experiences that we could ever have because of what we've waited for and what we've been through to get there. And yeah, this is just a game. It is. I'm well aware that it's not life or death, but it's very much a family thing. My kids watch the Reds games now largely because of this show. My family's engulfed into what has become Reds fandom because of this show. Everybody that I know from a friend group standpoint really kind of always looks at me and attaches the Reds to that, whether it's good or bad. And I get to spend just as much time with Nick as I do with my family. And that's, people think that's funny and laugh about that. That's the God's honest truth, man. I don't see my kids but for a couple hours a day most times, and I spend a couple hours with Nick out of 100, 125, 130 times a year. So I appreciate Nick for what he does and his work. It goes unsaid, but I very much appreciate what your wife goes through, because I'm well aware of what my wife goes through, putting our kids down to bed every single night. I get done with the show. I go upstairs. The kids are already in bed. She's sleeping. And you kind of sit there and you realize maybe you're being selfish at times. Maybe you're not. I don't know what it is, but I just want to say that we sacrifice a good amount to do this, and I appreciate everybody that allows us to do it. And most importantly, I really do appreciate everybody that's in this chat on a nightly basis, and people that listen to the podcast on a daily basis as well. You know, it is just a game, but it's part of our lives. I can't say it's not. I can't sit here and act like, oh, you know, who cares? It's just the Reds. Well, when you spend 2 to 3 hours every single day in the summers and the vast majority of what is good weather in your area, watching this said thing, it becomes a pretty attachment. It becomes a pretty close life attachment. So thank you to all of you. I'm going to go dunk a basketball. My kids are going to get pissed off at me because I'm probably going to ruin their fort or tent or whatever I was told not to ruin, but I'm going to try to make it with a bang and a splash. So for one last time, thank you to all of you. Much love to you. And go Reds, as always. I got to find a basketball, and I got to go be an athlete, as they say. So love you. Appreciate you. Don't judge my mess. One day I'll have a better setup. See you next year.